Hi everyone, my name is Josh Kirshner. I'm subbing in for Mike Sofair, and as you can see, fortunately they didn't put a picture up so you won't be confused. I'm from Pylons, and we're here to talk about next generation NFT standards and protocols. And in particular, we want to focus on the ways in which we can expand the universe of people that interact with NFTs far beyond what we have right now. Right now, about 360,000 people purchased NFTs last year. About 100 million people interacted with cryptocurrencies. But there were 3 billion people that played video games and 5 billion people that worked off of social media. Right now, we are a tiny fraction of the marketplace. And if you're here at NFT.NYC, you believe, like I do, that the future of the internet is going to involve digital items and NFTs everywhere. So we have to find a way to reach a more mass market audience, and that's going to require changing the protocols and the way in which we interact in this space. So I wanted to give everyone up on stage here a few moments to just introduce themselves and sort of where they come from and how they see the future of this space developing. Thanks.
Hey guys, Ben Lakoff. I'm subbing in for John Dorfman. There's a few subs up here. I'm co-founder at Charged Particles. So it's an NFT protocol that allows you to take your NFT, your ERC 721, give it its own smart wallet, so then that NFT can hold other tokens, fungible or non. Excited to be here. Thanks.
Hi everyone. So this is Raullen. So I'm a CEO, co-founder of IoTags. So we started back in 2017, actually building cutting-edge Web3 technologies, including Layer 1 blockchain, Layer 2 computation oracle, basically to reward hundreds of millions of people for contributing data and the resources from like 1 billion of smart devices around them, right? So we're a leader for IoT and blockchain. So we have just closed a huge round, led by Samsung, Team Draper, and Jump Crypto. So if you guys want to work with us, just come to talk with me or anyone with the IoTags shirt.
My name is Riccardo. I'm from my neighbor Alice, and we want to be the first mainstream fully decentralized game. And the way that we have to do is that everything is on the blockchain. We don't have any server. This means that we develop a new protocol for NFTs that essentially allows to put metadata and logic on chain. So you can change the parameter and information on your NFTs based on smart contract rules.
Hi everyone. I'm Victor Zhang, the CEO and co-founder of Smart Token Labs. We've been in market for over 4 years. We've been mainly building 2 projects. One is called Alpha Wallet, and currently in terms of the fork numbers, we are the largest EVM-based mobile wallet in the world. So developer love us, many people build their own mobile application based on our code base. And another core project is what we bring to NFT.NYC. It's called Token Script. It is a token-centric framework for tokenization, and we've been using this framework to build a tokenization project in past 4 years, more than 30, mainly NFT-related projects, like the first NFT tickets with FIFA official in 2018, 20,000 UVifa tickets, car ownership token, redeemable voucher, all those things. Yeah.
And my name is Josh Kirshner. I'm the general counsel at Pylons. Pylons is attempting to solve the sort of usability problems of NFTs to make it so that a mass market audience can interact with them using the same tools they already do, mobile-friendly, credit cards, not having to interact with cryptocurrencies. As for myself, I come from a tech background. I mined Bitcoin on my computer in 2011 when people thought that they had no idea what I was talking about. And now I'm working for a startup technology firm in this space. So, to sort of kick off the discussion, I tried to explain to a friend of mine recently how it is that you go about the process of buying an NFT. And I'm like, well, first you open up a Coinbase account, then you connect it to your credit card, and you move money over into the Coinbase account. You use the money to buy a cryptocurrency, and then you connect Kepler. Let me just, Kepler's not spelled that way, it doesn't have an E. So, well, it does have an E, but not a second E. And then once you've done that, you have to move your cryptocurrency over. Wait, you have to first create a Stargaze account, and you might need something called Osmosis, and oh, wait, hang on, there's another cryptocurrency you need to get, and then you can buy your NFT. But all of this has lots of points of failure, and when I tried to move cryptocurrency from one place to another just to demonstrate, the block got stuck for a while. This experience is not going to work in the long term, and we need to find ways to change that experience so that this larger audience can interact with it. And so my question to the group here is, what's next? What can we do differently? And how can the companies that you have help to facilitate those next steps?
Yeah, sure. I'm curious, how many people in here have onboarded somebody from like zero onto buying their first cryptocurrency? Show of hands. Yeah, so I think everybody knows what you're talking about when it's like that, because it's a disaster, and even family members go through the same thing. So I think traditionally Web3 crypto has not done a very good job of onboarding from zero straight into crypto. And it will be an iterative, gradual approach. I don't think that everybody is ready for like Snap. You're instantly a DeFi degen and own a bunch of NFTs. And the technology is evolving, and I mean, you look at some of these like dApps and mobile apps that exist today, and you compare those to what existed just a few years ago. Some of the best minds and UX designers in the world are starting to think about this. So we'll get there, but it is this iterative approach that we're slowly moving towards, and it's getting better as we speak.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, to me, I think the base NFT is like you don't have to buy, right? It's just like give it to you. For example, you purchase a coffee, there comes with an NFT, automatically drop into your wallet. That's a best like a user experience, right? So that's why like we're building this something we call machine-fi. It's basically using the data, from the machines around you, like your wearables, maybe your car, your smart home devices. Try to populating some sort of smart contract in a very intelligent way that build up like your online credential, like an NFT, in an automatic way, right? So that's my take on this one.
Yeah, I think to keep it short that the problem is that we try to make tools that are better, but we do that by centralizing. So we say we make like a service that is better and allows people to do the first step into the crypto. But we are not helping them to have the step into decentralization. And I just think that the industry should really focus there.
For this topic, we actually just we have a good example. We just delivered a project together with La Paris. It's one of the luxury women brand. And for that project, most of the audience, they are traditional art collector and don't know how to use crypto. And most of the purchasing scenario is actually at a real world physical art fair. So what we did is we allowed them to use traditional credit card payment. And after that, La Paris, the artist together with La Paris will issue them one attestation. It's basically a proof. And after they receive that proof, they can later use that proof to generate an NFT based on their own interest. If they don't want to transfer, they can use that proof as the digital art already. If they want to transfer or want to resell, then they can do it in a trustless way to submit the proof to the smart contract and mint the NFT. So, yeah.
So the approach that Pylons is taking in this space is we have created a mobile app with a mobile-friendly experience where you can click on a link for an NFT, the NFT shows up for purchase in your wallet, and you purchase it with a credit card through either Stripe or your Google Play or your Apple Pay store. There's no cryptocurrencies involved, and the NFT just ends up in the wallet, and the wallet itself is the app on your phone. And the goal of this is to transform the experience from one that involves cryptocurrencies to one that doesn't have to. You can still buy and sell using our app, using the traditional cryptocurrencies that everyone uses for everything else, but you don't have to. And I think if we separate the purchasing and the interaction with NFTs from cryptocurrencies more generally, we can reach this very different audience. And one of the examples of this that I try to use as framing is think about all of the skins and cosmetics that we buy in free-to-play video games. And those skins and cosmetics are purchased currently inside of the little tiny marketplace that is the game that you're already using. But you just use your phone to buy all of those things, and you use your credit card to buy all of those things. That user experience is one that people understand. So the closer we can make our experience to that, the more likely we are to reach that broader audience. So one of the questions that I would sort of push on to the panel next is, do we need to associate NFTs with the idea of cryptocurrencies themselves, or should we be moving in a direction that separates from cryptocurrencies and moves more towards the fiat payment methods that we already use?
I mean, it's more of a question of like centralization versus decentralization. So like the idea of a skin existing in a video game can exist without a blockchain. It's on a database that a company maintains, and that works well. But like for true non-custodial ownership of these things, yeah, they need to be associated with a blockchain. Obviously, it's a non-fungible token. The T is token. It means it runs on a blockchain, so it needs to be associated if you want that full non-custodial ownership. And like, I mean, if anybody's watching the news the last couple weeks, like people are saying that DeFi is broken. Well, no, CeFi is broken. These guys have custody of your coins. It's a very different thing. So it's the same kind of concept. But again, like, I still onboard people using Coinbase because they don't need to worry about 12 magic words that if they lose, somebody else can take control of their whole wallet. So there's pros and cons of each of these, but I think, so you could use it as a bit of a user onboarding, like having this more centralized version. But like, yeah, ultimately, if you want non-custodial ownership, which is part of the whole ethos of blockchain, yeah, it needs to be tied in with crypto, and we'll get there with the user experience.
Yeah, my answer is sort of like it really depends, right? So if you're talking about some like a very application-specific scenarios, like buying a coffee or driving around to get an NFT, I definitely think those things can be decoupled from the Web3, from the decentralized technology or cryptocurrency. Because if you're talking about massive adoption, let's face it, a lot of people don't really care about technology. They don't understand. They care about the application. You know, grab a coffee to earn some token, or like a drive to earn some token, right? But if you're talking about some like underlying infrastructure, like the NFT tools, SDK, something like that, definitely like I think we should talk about like the technology and also cryptocurrency underneath.
I think that we should think why we are into this industry. Like, I didn't enter because I wanted my grandma to own a bored ape, really. I'm more in the industry because I wanted to create a better tomorrow, for me at least. Because what there was available was not cool enough for me, because I wanted to have something decentralized, because I was thinking, fuck the system and all that stuff. And I don't know how many people actually enter the industry for this reason. But in this case, if we want to optimize, we should just keep building decentralized tools. Of course, we need gateway. Of course, we need a way to get money from real money, fiat, into tokens, into crypto. And this should be very simple, but it should be once. Like, once you have the tokens, you should be down the rabbit hole in the Wonderland or something.
I think for me the answer is whether you want to interact with the smart contract directly or not. If you want to interact with smart contract directly, then you have to use cryptocurrency. Then the benefit is autonomic deliverables payment, autonomous transaction. So you get your product and payment at the same time. But of course, in many scenarios, this is not really necessary. For example, most of the NFTs issued by a centralized party is either an organization or artist. They are the centralized party. They are the ultimate trust anchor anyway. If you buy an NFT from them, of course, you trust the artist. So for the primary market sale from the artist or from the centralized party, it's okay to use whatever payment you prefer, because they provide the trust and it's good enough to do the transaction. But for the secondary market trading of an NFT, it will be better you dealing with smart contract directly, because you're guaranteed if you pay the money, you get the product.
So, that sort of discusses the topic of how do we get more people into this space. But I guess the next piece of this is to ask, what are NFTs going to be as we move forward, and what do we need to do in order to facilitate those types of interactions online? So right now, when most people think NFTs, they think things like Bored Apes. They think largely art. But obviously, the concept of an NFT is so much more interesting than that and so much more innovative. You can use it for tickets for events. It can be music. It can be, for that matter, virtually anything that is uniquely identified as an item online. So my question to the group would be, what do you see as the next use cases for NFTs, and what do we need to do to build so that we can actually support those use cases as we move forward?
Yeah, so I think the theme or the kind of mantra of a lot of NFTs people is like, this is moving beyond art. What the next big push is, maybe gaming, who knows really, but like any sort of non-fungible token can be used in a number of different ways, including financial pieces and things like that. So with charged particles, what we're doing is adhering to the same standard. So 721s are all over Ethereum. So it's tough to build your own standard, but instead taking that existing standard and enabling it to do more. So we give that 721 NFT its own smart wallet, so then it can hold things. So your NFT then is transformed into a little basket. So that basket can be a DeFi portfolio. It can be a basket of other non-fungible tokens, like a loot bag in a game, whatever you would like. So we were trying to play within the existing standards and just allowing them to do a little bit more. So with art, that's not that interesting. I can create a piece of art, I can fill it full of social tokens, maybe some interest-bearing assets, something like that, and it's kind of cool, but it gets much more interesting and useful when you think of an NFT as a financial primitive, or you think of an NFT as an in-game item, and being able to, you know, it's your non-fungible backpack, and you're putting your non-fungible swords in it into a game, and it's all containerized within that NFT. So that's what we're very much trying to do, is like push the value proposition of what this NFT can be without altering the 721 standard as it is.
Yeah, I think I share the same thing. Like NFT is a really good kind of go-to market strategy for a lot of things, right? Not just necessary to be art, could be something like sports fans, like loyal points, a lot of things, a game as well. So that's why I feel like the next big wave is basically involves like how do you capture kind of everyday people kind of life into something that's valuable in the digital space. For example, like I just talked about, right? So if you grab a coffee every day, you're getting an NFT after 30 days, which value something. Or like you're running like 2 miles per day, keep it for a month or two, you are actually getting like an NFT to reward your kind of sports achievement. So I think that's kind of thing, if that goes viral, it will be very strong use case. Like definitely like IO tags and machine fi. So we're building use cases along those verticals, and we foresee like this is coming, in the next bull run.
I think that, yes, and now we are actually really like brainstorming a lot about what we can do with NFTs, but what we really have to do is create better technology that people will use to make better NFTs. So we want to create new standards and new protocols, like it's written here. And that's, for example, Charged Particles is doing something like that. Like you want to build on top of the existing technology, and that's also what we are trying to do, to build on top of the existing technology. Because the current state on NFT, it's a row in the database. Even on your node in a blockchain, it is a row in the database. And it's fantastic that people get so excited from a row in a database. It's great. But let's think what we can build. Like you have frameworks, you have libraries, you have protocols, you have everything, and it can really help the community of developers that don't really have to know what is happening inside. If you will check what's happening inside an SQL database when you do a select, it's much more complex than just going into a row and check it. So this is the thing that we need to build. We need to build like better tools, and I think the industry is doing that. It's like building. That's everybody's saying that this week. So
for me, NFT is just those tradable, non-fungible rights, their ownership and transaction rules recorded on a smart contract on blockchain. So basically what an NFT can do is it depends on what rights you are recorded on the blockchain, what rights you want to use an NFT to represent. For example, our Singapore and the Sydney office been using NFT as the key to control the office store since 2018. And all our new employees, we will mint an NFT for them to use to control the office store. And we recently launched a product called the Brand Connector. Basically, it allowed any NFT to be easily used on any existing Web2 application and website. So there's unlimited. What kind of rights you want to use an NFT to represent, then it's have what kind of utilities.
So, I come from a legal background as an attorney, and one of the questions that keeps coming up for me is that an NFT creates on-chain rights based on the rules of the code, but it does not actually create any off-chain rights. And the world in which we live is mostly off-chain rights with 170 plus countries defining a different set of rules under which we operate. And part of the dream of what NFTs and cryptocurrencies represents is moving to a model where those 170 countries are forced to consolidate their rules to some degree degree so that the rights that are recognized on-chain are recognized universally off-chain. But that isn't the case right now. And so what fascinates me in the sort of next steps of NFTs is how do we attach off-chain rights to these on-chain NFTs? You know, maybe your NFT is a parking space in your building, and you want to be able to transfer that to and from another user. Maybe we move to a model of real estate instead of using old-fashioned paper deeds actually being transferred as NFTs from person to person. And if we start to build a legal infrastructure that surrounds these use cases, we can convince the governments that matter that this is something that isn't just a fringe edge, predominantly rug-pulling criminal enterprise, but is instead the future of the way that humans are going to interact with property. You know, we only have a little bit of time left, so I wanted to just give everyone up here an opportunity to take maybe 30 or 40 seconds to just talk about what they think is important to their company or to them, sort of with no particular question on the table, just sort of closing arguments for yourself or a little pitch for your company.
Nice, thanks. So again, my name is Ben Lakoff. I'm on Twitter at BenLakoff. I'm not John Dorfman. I'm subbing in. Our company is Charged Particles. You can find us on Twitter at DeFi NFT. We got that in February 2020, long before all of these things were thought together like this. We have an SDK coming out in the next couple weeks, so if you're a developer, come check us out. And it's applicable across multiple verticals within the NFT space, so yeah, always happy to chat.
Yeah, so to your point, basically to bridge the physical world to the Web3 world, that's the holy grail, right? So I think there are a couple of ways to do that. Of course, legal binding with a centralized entity, that's one way to go. But I personally like what we're doing is by basically using the machines around the people, you know, wearables, devices, cars, you know, a lot of things, trying to capture what is going on in the physical world, then, you know, pumping the data to the Web3 infrastructure we're building, then which, you know, feeds into the DApps eventually. So I think that's kind of like a decentralized way to connecting the physical world to the Web3 world using the machines around us. So, you know, if you want to learn more about us, definitely go to IoTex.io. You can see the logos here, and also machinefi.com. That's about it.
Yeah, I think I want to add something. When we talk about putting a legal framework on NFTs, we have to ask what jurisdiction, and what happens if the jurisdiction is different, and do we want a jurisdiction that is designed by one government for all the world? That's really, and it's much complex. Besides that, yeah, I'm Riccardo. I'm from my neighbor Alice, and I don't have any announcement to make, so that's it. We will have something in the next day. Yeah, pat my shoulder if you know my neighbor Alice or you want to chat with me.
Again, I'm Victor Zhang, so you can find me on Twitter, Victor928. And the project we bring to here is mainly for TokenScript. So if you are interested, you can look at tokenscript.org.
And my name is Josh Kirshner. You can find us at pylons.tech. And come join our Discord server. We recently launched our incentivized testnet, and our app is in beta. You can find it on the App Store and on the Android Google Play Store as well. And I wanted to just ask everyone to just give a round of applause for our fantastic panel here today.